to Trudy McIntosh in Washington. Trudy, what's the spin on this and what are the consequences? How do they explain it?
Yeah, Laura, this is everything and the only thing really that everyone here in Washington is talking about today. This bombshell story yesterday that the editor of The Atlantic, hardly a friend of Donald Trump and his administration, was mistakenly added by the National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, to this big group chat discussing secret war plans ahead of those strikes we saw in Yemen against Houthi targets. For now, no consequences for anyone. Mike Waltz remains in the job. The president says he's a good man. He just was on Fox News this hour with Laura Ingraham. He still can't explain how he added the number of a journalist he says he's never spoken to, that he doesn't know Jeffrey Goldberg, this editor-in-chief, and yet somehow that number and not someone else he was planning to add, but won't say who, was added to this chat. In total, 18 senior members of the Trump administration were there. The Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reportedly added the details, the targets and the weapons of this airstrike ahead of time. That has not been published, and the president is saying it wasn't confidential and classified, crucially, information, saying this wasn't a breach of classified information. This was the president earlier today.
But sometimes somebody can get onto those things. That's one of the prices you pay when you're not sitting in the Situation Room with no phones on. This certainly will look at this, but the main thing was nothing happened. The attack was totally successful. It was, I guess, from what I understand, took place during, and it wasn't classified information. So this was not classified. Now, if it's classified information, it's probably a little bit different. But I always say you have to learn from every experience. I think it was very unfair the way they attacked Michael.
The president telling reporters that, yes, there'll be an investigation, but the man running the investigation is Mike Waltz, the very man who inadvertently added the reporter to the group chat. Democrats are really frustrated about this, understandably, today, but they're also frustrated given how hard Republicans went at Hillary Clinton over her misuse of classified information, mishandling of classified information with that private email server. No such indignation from Republicans today when it comes to this story. This was some of the heated exchange we saw with two of Trump's top intel chiefs when they were on Capitol Hill appearing before Congress.
Senator, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Why are you going to get into the specifics? Is it because it's all classified?
Because this is currently under review by the National Security
Because
Council.
it's all classified? If it's not classified, share the text now.
Democrats as well, the top Democrat in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, has written to the president, posting this letter publicly now. He is demanding that the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, be the one that take the fall for this. Why? Because he was the one accused of actually listing this information about the war plans in this unclassified group chat on Signal. As for whether the president's team should even be using the platform, Laura, differing views on that. The president says for now they still can, but he'd like them to really limit the use of that. He says he'd prefer everyone to just be in the Situation Room and no phones in the room at all.